Welcome back, everybody. It's time for some WePlay Dota 2 action. We've had our share of Chinese Dota. We're going to head on over west now. It's time for Maxi some good old-fashioned CIS Dota. It's two Russian teams going to be going at it in our first match of today. Our gods. Joining me is going to be Vikramond. He's not available right this second, but he's going to be joining me in a couple minutes' time for this cast, guys. It's time for our Group D action here. We've seen 3 of the groups now conclude. 6 of our 8 teams in the playoffs have been inside in Group A previously. We had winning the group KiS, followed up by the Mouse Quantic Flipside team. In Group B, it was Empire as well as EG. And then Group C, it was the Liquid Alliance topping the group. Liquid actually taking that group in first place with a 1-1 draw against Alliance. Alliance, of course, dropping another game against Force Week Revenge. So Liquid winning that Group C. But here we are in Group D. Na'Vi, Fnatic, the 2 big favorites, but we're going to see if any of these other teams can make any ripples, make any upsets happen. It's going to be RoX.KiS up against ScaryFacezzzz, or ScaryFacezzzz, with a couple exclamation marks. They're going to need to make some exclamations here as they look to take on RoX.KiS, a much more well-known team as of late, but not a team who's sort of been making big upsets. They've sort of been there since the TI3 Western qualifiers, but haven't really made much of a dent in the scene since Dread as well as Solo have left the team. But we'll see what they can do here. We've got BZZ is perfect, Nexus, Yol, Sudoy, as well as the stand-in Sola, taking on the team ScaryFacezzzz. And this is our opening match of Group D. We've had 3 of our groups conclude. We've got our final group here now kicking off. Today we've got 2 best-of-2s for you, and then over the next 3 or 4 days we'll conclude things off with the rest of the matches for Fnatic. I think it's Team Poseidon as well as Na'Vi in this Group D action to see which 2 of these 5 teams will advance to join those 6 other teams in the playoffs of the WePlay Dota 2 tournament. Some $25,000 up for grabs in prize money, so a lot at stake here, and definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to go down here in Group D, as well as how the playoffs are going to unfold as well, with so much prize money at stake between these top 8 teams. But we'll hop ourselves into this draft. As you can see, this draft nearing its end right now, and as it is, we have ScaryFacezzzz over on that dire side with the Nature's Prophet being picked up early, Abaddon, Rubik, and Puck. As for RoX.KiS, they're going to have a Naga Siren, Gyrocopter, Chen, and Clockwork. So it looks like RoX.KiS, I mean, they've got themselves a nice, strong team fight early on. You've got a Naga Siren asleep into cooldown. You've got the Chen offering some good team fight heals, and Clockwork as another initiator. As for ScaryFacezzzz, they're looking towards Puck as a solo mid. They've got their 2 supports with Rubik, Abaddon. They've got an offlaner with Nature's Prophet. A bit more split push and just sort of solo hero killing potential from them. I'm not sure how much I'll be wanting to take head-on 5v5 fights against a Naga, Gyrocopter, Clockwork. They're going to be looking to just sort of maybe focus more on getting some of these heroes more farmed up and just split pushing, split farming the map, doing as much damage and getting the farm they need without actually taking full-on confrontations with RoX.KiS. So as far as this last pick goes, I was about to say they need a carry, and what better carry is there for this kind of split push and split farm than an anti-mage? So anti-mage is going to be the last pick. RoX.KiS doesn't seem like they're going to be too phased from this. If they'd wanted to, they could have banned this out. Instead, they decided to ban out the Mirana, sort of a more early game-centric farmer. Maybe considering the fact that ScaryFacezzzz could have gone with a Rubik Abaddon offensive trial lane, but instead now we look towards anti-mage as sort of your safe lane trial lane, Nature's Prophet in the off lane, Puck in the mid lane, and RoX.KiS round up their draft with an off lane lone druid, it looks like. We will be seeing Sudoy handling that one, so we'll see exactly how these lanes are going to unfold here. RoX.KiS, they had a lot of team fight. Lone druid seems to just be getting picked up as a nice off lane hero to sort of be annoying and harass heavily with, but we'll find out exactly how it fits in as we get ourselves into this game. Vic, is that you, man? Do I hear you? No?
No, I'm here. Hi.
Cool. How's it going, man?
Well, I'm a little bit discombobulated.
Okay.
Didn't get that much sleep. I was watching some WPC Ace Dota League action. I was about to go to bed in the IGDK Game 2. I went to bed, and then I couldn't sleep, so I walked back to the computer, and then, without spoiling anything, I was in for a major treat on my return.
I saw some people on Reddit say, "Oh, like 13 minutes in, I went to sleep," and
Yeah,
I regret my decision.
that was me, but I managed to pull back from the brink, luckily.
Don't worry, I'm going through the same things here. I've tried to I got my like 2-hour power nap in between WPC as well as WePlay.
That's that casting nap.
Yes.
Up in there. But yeah, so as we were about to begin this, the plumbers arrived at my apartment to fix a leak that has been ongoing for over 11 months. So I was like, I want to tell you to leave, but I also want you to actually fix this, so I'm not sure what to do. Anyway, all good now.
All right. Well, Group D. This is the only remaining group left before we get into the playoff stage. RoX.KiS, ScaryFacezzzz, Na'Vi Fnatic, as well as Poseidon. So there's kind of like two clear favorites here with Na'Vi Fnatic. But as far as the other three teams, any sort of big ones do you feel like to look out for as far as teams who could upset either Na'Vi or Fnatic?
Ooh, out of this group, you mean
Yeah.
specifically? I mean, I do think that RoX.KiS and Poseidon both have potential to take games off teams as big as Fnatic. Navi, I don't really see it. It's certainly possible because, of course, Navi does have these days in which they decide to lose games to Aspera or Power Rangers or somebody else. But overall, I don't see that much contest, at least for Navi's slot. Fnatic slot, yeah, I could easily see either Poseidon or RoX.KiS upsetting. RoX.KiS have been playing pretty well. They placed sixth this season of Star Ladder, and this was actually a very, very difficult season of Star Ladder in the sense that 14 or 15 teams were actually pretty strong. Usually there's like 9 strong teams. This season there were like 13 or 14.
Fnatic did quite poorly inside. I remember at one point
They
they were
did.
like 3-9 or 5-9. I'm not sure
They
where they
ended,
ended.
I believe, 6-9,
Okay.
which is quite mediocre, honestly. And RoX.KiS was 8-7.
Yep.
So these teams are definitely at each other's level. I could definitely see RoX.KiS taking games off Fnatic.
Cool. Well, we're here game one draft, and so far RoX.KiS. I think RoX.KiS have gone with the slightly more safe standard draft up until maybe the lone druid last pick as an offlane hero. Probably the maybe something we don't get to see a whole lot. But going for a big team fight with a Naga Siren, the Gyrocopter, they're going to be putting the Clockwork. It looks like in the mid lane, so be interesting to see how this draft worked out. Do you give either of these two teams much of an edge with just the draft in mind?
On a drafting basis, I do think that SFZ's draft, and this is a team I'm not tremendously familiar with, honestly, so they're more of a wild card for me. The only player I really know here is Yamaha, who's a pretty well-known player in the Russian scene. He was on Empire as a stand-in when they were trialing a lot of different people, and he did okay in the one role. But as far as their draft goes, gods, my issue is it's a little bit confused. It feels like it's pulling in. It has 5 heroes, and 4 of them are 4 different directions of play. So
Yeah.
Puck is, that mid-game dominance, the huge silence against heroes, the ability to jump in and just blow people up. A Baden is a more sustained diving style hero. He rewards heroes who sort of put out a consistent level of aggression. For example, Weaver. And then, of course, Anti-Mage is the preeminent, I'm going to farm you out and win the game at exactly 40 minutes and 0 seconds. So Anti-Mage and Nature's Prophet provide split push, but I just don't see how Rubik, Abaddon, and Puck fit into that plan unless they're just trying to broadly diversify.
Especially the Abaddon. Normally, that's a hero you get if you want to be fighting, not really right away from level 1, but
Right.
from like around the mid game stage. But with an anti-mage Nature's Prophet, it's kind of like heroes like where you normally avoid fights and confrontations. So we'll see how it fits there. We'll introduce our two teams here. Playing over on the Radiant side, it is going to be RoX.KiS. We're going to have Sadoy playing the offlane Lone Druid. Middle lane is who is middle lane being handled? It looks like we are going to see BZZ is perfect. Yep, he's rotating back. Clockwork is going to be at mid. Yol going to be playing the Chen in the jungle. We've got the Gyrocopter at the bottom lane for Nexus, and then finally it's going to be Solar the stand-in on the support Naga Siren.
Yep. And looking towards SFZ, seeking to sort of make their mark here, I do believe this is this team's first game at sort of this high professional level in terms of tournaments. So we'll have to see what they come up with here. It's going to be Cherry in the off lane on the Nature's Prophet. HZK will be supporting on Rubik. He's joined in his top lane tri-lane by Blackbeard on the Abaddon and Yamaha on the Anti-Mage. And then that leaves State, or State 2-1, I think is one of his aliases, and he's on the Puck in the middle. And yeah, RoX.KiS, they've been running this arrangement basically since about a quarter or a third of the way through this season of Star Ladder. They picked up Seedoy and Nexus from CDCD, which disbanded pretty early on. These are actually pretty strong players. I do think that RoX.KiS looked better after adding them than it did before. Nexus is a very solid carry. Business Perfect has done pretty well in the mid lane, too. Of course, he used to play one role for them, for instance, during the TI3 West qualifiers. But now he's adapting to mid, and he's done pretty good.
Yeah, well, right off the bat here, both offlaners trying to be as annoying as Prophet. Nature's Prophet sends out treants to block pulls, also try and drag creeps, but Nature's Prophet doesn't do a great job at it, whereas Sedoy at the top lane gets a full creep wave all the way near his tower. So he's off to a much better start than this Nature's Prophet, who's already sent out 2 lots of treants, is sending out a 3rd lot now as well, and doesn't actually block the 1-minute creep spawn.
Right.
So that's a tough start for this Nature's Prophet. He may just be forced to go back into the jungle now.
I think now that he's been missing the creep camp blocks, I totally agree. If he does manage to maybe pull this lane of creeps, but it's not going to be the easiest thing to actually do that. And meanwhile, Sola looks to just intercept that creep wave pull with the mud golems. Doesn't look like he got it, so there may still be some hope for Cherry in this lane. I do expect Sedoy in general to do a little better. Sedoy is a pretty strong player in this scene, honestly. For me, the enduring Sedoy memory is actually recently, they were playing Kaipi, I think, and he got ganked by 3 people, and he was in the mid for some reason on Darkseer, and suddenly all 3 of them are dead because he just landed a perfect vac wall and they had no tools to deal with it. So this is definitely a player who can, if not carry games, at least... Oh, he's actually in a bit of trouble here, though.
Yeah, there's a very early smoke rotation. The Rubik as well as Abaddon going for a bit of a backstep here. Antimate's going for the constant body block. He's got boots. The question is, can Rubik catch up with the telekinesis? And right now it looks like Sedoy is just too fast for this Rubik. He gets away, and normally, like, when you're at your tower, you get ganked from behind, you're just dead, but he ran down river to escape from that, and Antimate did his best job to try and block him, but it wasn't enough.
So he's actually, you could just see the strong sort of reflexes in terms of when ganks come in, just knowing what to do. That was the exact right direction to move in as soon as he saw the Rubik. He even did a little bit of body blocking with the Spirit Bear on the Rubik.
Yep.
So you already have a 25 movement speed deficit. Rubik has pretty crappy base move, and Lone Druid has very good base move. And then when you add the bear into the factor, they just couldn't land that telekinesis. And without telekinesis, there's no gank.
Well, that's a nice little dodge, wasting the SFZ time here. Both those supports still level 1. Rubik not with a single point of experience. So this is very damaging as far as SFZ are concerned, to be investing this much time to try and zone him out. And they've done absolutely nothing, because Sedoy is level 3.5, so he's achieved so much in the offlane. And not just the support still level 1, the offlane Nature's Prophet is still yet to get any experience as well. So SFZ off to a very, very rough start.
I did do a little bit of, like, Dota buff stalking in SFC, and I was concerned that they might have some trouble with it. I mean, RoX.KiS is a very high-tier team, but you're just seeing a little bit of a differential across basically every lane. Sedoy is doing better than Cherry, and honestly, Clockwork, who should not win the lane against Puck, is winning the lane against Puck. 10 for 9 for Business Perfect, and only 10 for 5 for States Puck. Oh, wow. Not to mention, Clockwork has basically controlled the runes as well.
Yeah. RoX.KiS have been, I mean, they're one of those really solid tier 2 Western teams, though. They're up there. They're not really causing upsets against your top teams, your Alliances, your Navis, but put them up against any of your other Western teams, and they generally come out on top. And back during the Western qualifiers, they were considered almost a tier 1 Western team until they sort of lost a couple of their players.
I had them as 2, I think, in my book for the Western qualifiers. Of course, didn't end up working out that way, but a couple teams made a run. Quantic was the one that majorly made a run, of course.
Yeah.
I actually do think that this new RoX.KiS lineup has some potential. I don't know if it's going to be a tier 1 team right now, but I do like the change-up of Nexus, putting Business in the middle. When he played one role, carry, and he was playing like Lifestealer and Gyrocopter all the time, I kind of felt almost like he was a mid in a carry's body. Like, kind of like when CTY got his start on VG. Like, this guy plays super aggressively, doesn't seem to like farming that much, seems to love getting kills. I mean, one role is fine for that, but maybe he has higher aspirations or wants to play mid.
Yeah. Well, it seems to be swinging a lot better here. We do see some aggression coming out on top. It looks like Sedoy could be in a little bit of trouble here. And Antimate's once again. This looks like we're going to see our first blood. No way out for him. Rubik does get the last hit for this. So SFZ do strike first to the top lane, but it was kind of a long time coming for him. And that's like the first experience Rubik's even gotten. He hits level 2 now. So, while RoX.KiS give up the first blood, they really gave up a lot to get it.
Yeah, I mean, RoX.KiS, they lose first blood, but I honestly think Sedoy was doing well enough that it's not tremendously fatal. The credit does go to Rubik and not Anti-Mage, so you're not ramping him particularly farther towards his Battle Fury. In fact, the fact that Anti-Mage is a tower and 10 last hits behind, I think more than makes up for the fact that he participated in a kill. You've got Nexus, who's probably going to have a timing as long as he goes for solid mid-game items, where the anti-mage is not particularly scary, and RoX.KiS has very good push with Lone Druid and Chen.
Yeah. We'll have to see what this gyrocopter wants to go for. Nexus, if he really wants, can pick up that Helm of the Dominator, shortly start stacking Ancients and building towards the Ultra late game. Alternatively, you go for... I mean, I'm surprised he just hasn't picked up the phase boots yet, I guess, is what I want to say.
Me too.
To me, it suggests he wants to go for that Helm of the Dominator rush.
Yeah, I think that might be what he goes for. Maybe he feels that he can just sort of outplay the anti-mage at his own game, and if the Helm is sufficiently early enough and the support spend just gobs at their time stacking, that can be true, but they're really not. They're mostly just spending time jungling themselves.
Top lane. BZZ's found a hook. He's going to bring down the Abaddon here. X gets thrown out of the cogs. He needs to get back in there. Abaddon can go for a deny. Use that miscoil to deny yourself. Doesn't do so, and Anti-Mage wants to chase down the Clockwork here with Puck showing up. This looks like we're going to see a kill. Puck getting the last hit there, using a Dream Kill for this, so a 1-for-1 trade.
This maybe not.
This bear with double Stout Shield?
It's more that Nature's Prophet doesn't even have Sprout. I feel like if he had Sprout, it's a possibility, but without it, nope. My bad.
Double Stout Shield Lone Druid bear. This is it's been a long time since I've seen the double Stout Shield build come out.
Me too. But hey, it's beefy.
Yeah, well, with Nature's Prophet rotating as well towards the top lane, it looks like SFZ want to try and get themselves a T1 tower here. Much like Gyrocopter did earlier on. And Gyrocopter, he's bought... What's he actually purchased here? He's bringing something out. Looks like just some treads as well as a magic wand, so nothing too out of the ordinary from him.
Yeah, I think this is a fine build. I'm actually kind of glad he didn't go for the Helm. I just feel that trying to outfarm a team that you already feel like you're probably higher skill than on average is... You don't want to let the game go too late, because weird things can happen when games go late. That's when upsets are made, right? Either in the very early game as a result of a compelling draft, or very late when things start to get a little bit odd and your respawn times get high. So I think for RoX.KiS, they should just seek to pressure them across the map, and a build for Gyro that isn't just Helm rushing farm is probably the way to do that. Cherry's in trouble again.
Yeah, he's going to get found by BZZ. Hook shot to initiate him, followed up by a Battery Assault as well as a Cogs. Something we actually see from BZZ is he actually hasn't maxed out Battery Assault, but it doesn't seem to matter. It looks like he's going to get 2 kills out of this if he can find the Rubik. He's got a maxed out Rocket Flare. Well, for the time being, Rubik is maybe going to be okay. And meanwhile, Anti-Mage over on the sidelines bring down the Chen, but that's going to be the death of Rubik. So a 2-for-1 trade in the jungle. Can Puck do any more damage? He's got Coil here, and he's going to use on BZZ. This is like a semi-roaming Anti-Mage, but they can't stop the TP. The Coil breaks, and he TP's out. Nicely played by BZZ.
Shouldn't have used Mana Void on Chen, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be absolutely kicking himself, because he didn't need it to kill Chen, but it would have gotten the kill on Clockwork. That's the sort of thing I do all the time, and then I feel like the world's biggest idiot. I'm
a bit surprised by the Clockwork skill build. Normally we look towards Battery Assault being maxed out, and I think it's somewhat giving him much... His killing here is a lot slower. His actual damage output is nowhere near as impressive, but it still worked out okay.
It's very old school, right? Yeah. This Rocket Flare maxing build. Now, perhaps they did this... My guess would be he did this to shore up Seedoi. Like, while I'm farming in the mid, in the early laning stage, I can still contribute a lot to defending the Lone Druid from that tri-lane. Like, if he can bring the Rubik down fairly low, it becomes much less compelling for them to actually dive the LD. That said, yeah, I love the Battery Assault build. I mean, Ice 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 today really showed just how powerful that build can be, even from the off-lane.
Well, for the time being, he's already hitting level 8 and close to level 9, so he's going to have those extra points in Battery Assault soon anyways, and... He's constantly sending up rocket flares. He's stealing these neutrals. Neutrals is what he's doing in the top lane, like sending rocket flares, having it maxed out, and he's actually getting last hits here and there on the big neutral camps as well as just the normal pulls. So he's being very annoying.
Interesting that Seedoi has opted to go for the Midas. So this will give him... The great thing that this will give him, actually, is further XP advantage over Nature's Prophet.
Yeah.
There's going to come a time pretty soon after this Midas when it's just not really worth it for Nature's Prophet to try to TP over ever, because the Lone Druid is going to just be a little bit too tanky. I don't think that's true just yet, though. They could get a kill here. Yeah,
just as he picks up his Midas, he was looking for a creep to actually Midas and not going to find it. Song of the Siren comes in, multiple TPs. Here's Clockwork. Have they got Gyrocopter? This is where you need your Gyrocopter TPing. It looks like they're not going to actually bring him in. They're just going to use the cogs to disengage. Yeah. Well, he can go in and Midas a creep now if he wants.
I gotta say, I actually like that move, though, because, hey, they protected Seedoi. He's going to get to use his Midas no problem.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he actually low ground Midas is it to make sure he gets the XP while using the bear high ground for vision. Neat little trick there. I agree with the defensive decision because, hey, you tied up basically their entire team's time. I'm pretty sure all 5 SFZ players were there in the vicinity and were caught out by that song. Nexus still keeps farming. Yol still keeps farming on Chen, and you don't really expend that much time to protect Lone Druid there, while also not overcommitting yourself to a fight that you don't know that you'll win. So I think that was just very canny of RoX.KiS in general. I like the patient play that they're displaying in this game.
Yeah, it seems they're happy just to wait things out until they get these key levels and items. Get the mech on the Chen. Chen now hitting level 7, but still about 500 gold away from a mech. Gyrocopter, sure, he's farming well in the safe lane, but it looks like they're going to wait for him to maybe even farm up at just a straight BKB. Once he is BKB, your Chen has a mech, their kind of 5-man push gets very hard to deal with and stop.
Right? And I wonder what BZZ's Perfect is going to go first. It seems like he might actually rush BKB, but
Yeah.
he is leaving his options open somewhat, because he just has that Ogre Club, which if he's stomping, like if they're winning by a lot, he could just go straight for Aghanim Scepter, even though you typically make the point booster first. But if Puck starts getting really big, then he can just respond by taking the BKB and do a little better against that. So it's another good sort of not overcommitting to one route or the other, and that's a good move, I think, for RoX.
Yeah, I think right as it stands right now, I mean, you could easily just go straight for that Aghanim Scepter. There's not too much danger for him because Anti-Mage and Nature's Prophet are just kind of farming and split pushing, and neither of them doing that well. So it seems the BKB is just entirely for the Puck, who is doing, I mean, is 1-0-1, but isn't like this Puck is snowballing out of control right now.
Absolutely. He is going to get his blink in a decent timing. Not bad by any means, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's at the cost of the fact that he hasn't really generated that much. He's 1-0-1, which, I mean, there are certainly worse Puck games in which you just get nothing done. But he's not even, I don't think he'll get the rune here.
No.
Yeah, he won't. Solo's been doing very well, honestly. He leveled early, so rather than stack jungle camps for Gyro, he chose to level the Naga. I actually think that this was the right decision because it does give them access to that critical song a little bit earlier.
Ooh,
and trouble
line.
for HDK up top.
Yeah, he should not have been diving out in front. He went for a lift against 3 heroes. That was an easy kill for RoX.KiS. Yam Hadden now going to blink in. I don't know about Antimage showing up to this fight. He needs to be very careful. There's a cooldown from the Gyrocopter. That's going to catch on to multiple heroes. Gyrocopter's just trying to fight his way out of this one. Yamaha needs to maybe just blink on out. The ensnare gets immediately cancelled by a shield. That is some nice timing from Blackbeard on the Abaddon, but even so, it's a 1-for-0 here. The tier 2 tower being sieged, and Yamaha just unable to really fight into this hero composition. They're just too tanky, and they've just got too much firepower with the Chen creeps, with everything going their way.
Right. They're pretty tanky, and SFZ is very much not. I mean, that was very excellent play from Abaddon, honestly. He soaked a lot of damage.
Yeah.
One of the great things about being Abaddon against Gyrocopter is that Gyrocopter can't really control where his damage goes to a great extent, which means that if you want to go to full off borrowed time, you usually can. So he managed to do that. He kept himself in the fight, and of course he landed an absolutely stunningly timed Aphotic Shield on Anti-Mage. In the instant that the ensnare came down, he managed to help Anti-Mage get out. So that protects the Battle Fury, which is still not up for Yamaha. He did actually go Treads for a little bit of fight. I think SFC, that was well played, but I am concerned about just the fact that Rubik and Abaddon are quickly approaching food. Like, look at this. Look at Dark Tree over here. He's got Boots of Speed, Healing Salve, Clarity, and that is it.
Oh man, and the Rubik just went for like a solo smoke gank from like the middle tier 1 tower and tried to sneak bottom. I just feel like these supports are just not quite sure about what they want to be doing here early on, and it goes back a lot to the draft. Like, you have an Anti-Mage Nature's Prophet. What's the Rubik Abaddon? Where do they fit in? Like,
right. I completely agree, Gods. I just feel like the support composition they picked, it lends itself to, we're gonna just get a lot of kills on the board.
Yeah.
But you saw it didn't pan out at all. In fact, they couldn't even secure kills on the Lone Druid when he was solo reliably because he was too fast for them. It's because, I mean, Abaddon is pretty fast, but he doesn't have any disables except for if you take Curse of Avernus, which usually you don't this early. So yeah, they were unable to generate opportunities.
Oh, I think this is a Song of the Siren or something. No Song of the Siren being used at bottom lane. It's just a straight up engagement with a Clockwork Hookshot. He wants to go on Blackbeard here, and Blackbeard doesn't stand a chance. Easy kill. And meanwhile, the rest of RoX.KiS are pushing it top. RoX.KiS just seem to have a much more clear game plan in mind. They're ganking where they can, and they're just straight up pushing now. They've got all the items they need to push down almost any tower outside of the SFZ base.
As long as they could rely on Clockwork to have a pretty good game,
yeah,
they really knew that he would be able to pressure the supports very heavily. Like, Rubik and Abaddon wouldn't really stand a chance. Especially because Cogs will basically outlast borrowed time if you need it to. Yol, I think, is dead here.
Yeah,
this is at least a kill on the board, especially for the Puck. It's great.
Anti-Mage's getting the last hit for this. He's got his Battle Fury up now, but Battle Fury treads, 15 minutes in, good farm for the Anti-Mage, really good farm at that, but the problem's going to come in that RoX.KiS are ready to take every outer tower on the map, having a Chen with a mech as well as level 8 already. They've got Gyrocopter with a BKB, Clockwork's getting close to an Aghanim Scepter. This just 5-man from RoX.KiS. I don't think SFZ can really fight into it. They're just going to have to watch their outer towers go down.
Pretty much, and unfortunately this timing is hitting after Battle Fury, so it's great that Yamaha managed to pick that up, but he's going to have a bear of a time actually stopping the bear and friends from just pushing down all their towers, because he really doesn't have anything. He has Cleave, but no Yasha, no Manta, really no Basher, which is pretty important here.
I think at this point all he can really do is go for a split push, counter these other lanes. He's trying to get this T1 tower at top. It looks like he'll do just that, so multiple heroes TPing in and not really actually stopping the Anti-Mage from getting this T1 tower. Clockwork searching. You see, I was about to say, I don't think you actually want to be hooking into multiple heroes here. Oh, he finds the Abaddon just a half a second too late.
Yeah, and he did end up going Aghanims. It's completed now, so that's a 12-second cooldown on Hook. That'll let Clockwork. Oh, actually, they find out Seedoy. I'm surprised at how far up RoX.KiS were playing there without Clockwork or Gyrocopter. Yeah. But that's actually a great pickup. The Lone Druid was rocketing towards big items. Here's the hook shot.
Yeah, this is going to be the death of HZK. No way out of this one. Drops into the Roshan pit, but he'll be just fine here. Nagasaran looking maybe for an ensnare, going to decide against it. There's no follow-up. And
that was actually a really nice TK, though, for what it's worth. Yeah. Throw in the pit. A little bit of 300 GF action there from Rubik. But I don't know. I mean, we've been praising RoX.KiS, and certainly they're substantially ahead. They're getting more map equity, but SFC are doing pretty well, maybe even slightly better than some may have expected. I mean, they're more or less even in kills. They are a lot down in farm, and they're behind strategically. But some of that comes down to the draft, honestly. Oh, Yamaha.
Yeah, BZZ's just throwing hooks left, right, and center. He really wants to go on Yamaha. Yamaha going to blink to the side here, but unfortunately for him, he's got no TP scroll. The Cog's burning him. Oh, that chain Cog.
1 second.
Wow. BZZ. And then he just TP's out of there. Solo killing an Anti-Mage's Clockwork. That's something.
That was an incredible play, though, by BZZ. He was zoning Anti-Mage so hard with the battery assault. Not cogsing too early, not committing to it until Anti-Mage post-blink.
Yeah, and Anti-Mage's going for like 3 points in the mana break, 2 in blink. He's not really that tanky. He doesn't have a lot of points in stats, only has 1 in the spell shield, so he's gone for a much, much squishier build here as an Anti-Mage.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying, I think SFC did pretty well, but I still don't actually see how they win this game, just because Nature's Prophet had such a bad start. He did end up getting Midas in the end, but he's still not even at Shadowblade, so he doesn't present a very credible split push threat. Anti-Mage, oh, yeah, they're just going to get trapped while RoX.KiS finishes this. This is a great Clockwork game for This Is Perfect.
Oh, Sleep gets stolen by the Rubik and snared up as well. Is this going to set anything up, though? They've got no AoE to follow this up. Puck is the only AoE they've got, the only team fight on this dire side, so sure they can steal the Sleep, but that doesn't set anything up. And Clockwork doing some great zoning out with these cogs, constantly just harassing and being annoying. And Roshan easily picked up. Puck maybe look for a steal, but Clockwork though, hookshot finds HZK again. He doesn't actually go for the kill. Actually, with battery assault as well as cogs on cooldown, he couldn't get it.
They were very nervous about the steal though. They actually put it on Naga, which is not very useful at all. But that's how much they feared that they would actually get stolen. That or the stand-in was just like, rubs hands together evilly. My ages.
Yeah, I think with the Puck orb on over, I think there was just a bit of apprehension there. But we do see Clockwork continue to farm out the top lane, and RoX.KiS, I feel like a couple of those pickoffs like you talk about, like getting that lone druid kill on Sedoy recently really slowed down their push and just their overall momentum, because that's just 40 seconds where they don't have the lone druid, they can't really push with him, and just any of these heroes being down really can make it a bit more difficult for them to actually push out lane.
Yeah. And actually, I would say that the Puck Aegis steal was almost successful, because if you force them to put it on their 4-role support, or sorry, I should say their 5-role support, they certainly would have pushed if that was on Gyro, for instance, right? Instead, you've bought yourself more time. So honestly, nice work by SFZ. I wish HZK had hung a little bit back and tried to use the Song of the Siren later and just pretended he was a Naga Siren looking to steal Roshan, but even so, SFZ has bought themselves a critical reprieve that they badly need to just get Yamaha and Cherry into a position where they can split push. Cherry currently just using Fountain Gold to finish his Shadow Blade.
That's unfortunate times for him, but we'll see what he can do now. He's 0-1, so he's recovered fairly decently. I just still worry for SFZ here because we're going to be looking at RoX.KiS just grouping up as 5 and trying to push the high ground soon, I imagine. And we're going to see Gyrocopter, I think, just pick up an Eagle Song to start working on his butterfly. That's not really, I mean, the end of the world for SFZ, but it's just all these little problems just adding up bit by bit.
Yeah. I don't think the butterfly is killer per se, or at least not the Eagle Song portion of it. Yamaha, by the way, moving towards his Mantis style. Interesting that he chose to go for the Ultimate Orb first.
Yeah.
I think I would have probably preferred going the Yasha. I mean, Ultimate Orb gives you more survivability, but I don't know. I really feel that they need to be able to get themselves into split pushing shape as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah, and you can split push. You're split pushing already just with your battle fury. So Yasha gives you a lot more split pushing with the attack speed and movement speed. So I fully agree. You want to go for that Yasha, not the Ultimate Orb.
Nonetheless, they're actually doing a pretty good job right now of split pushing RoX.KiS. I mean, RoX.KiS is going to get this tier 2, but they cannot push for the tier 3, which I'm sure they would love to do, for fear of losing, basically opening up 2 lanes to the possibility of being split pushed later.
Yeah,
so yeah, they send 2 people back, and a successful little endeavor by Yamaha and Cherry.
Yeah, SFZ, while they're not getting either the tier 2 at bottom or top, it forced RoX.KiS back, get themselves more times to get their next items up. If Antimage can actually complete his Mantis style, suddenly he can actually offer a lot more in a teamfight scenario.
For sure, and he's quite close, isn't he? I believe he has the Yasha. Yeah. He just needs the recipe, and he's only 400 off. So actually, I did say that of anybody on this team on SFZ, at least to the best of my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gods, but the only player I know with like a pro history is Yamaha, really. Yeah. And even that, only like some stand-in games and some semi-pro games. But if he is sort of the heart of the team leader, I think he's definitely validating that with this game. He was behind by about 20 last hits in lane to Nexus. He's now ahead, so I mean, obviously anti-mage is anti-mage, but still.
Yeah. Well, I guess RoX.KiS, so their consideration is going to be let's try and end this game soon. So Doy's actually picked up a Mithril Hammer on his lone Druid. I would have expected like a straight Assault Crest maybe. Well, I guess Midas Assault Crest, not the. Yeah. If you want to try and push and break the base, the Assault Crest is nice, but the Maelstrom is going to just give him some good damage output. So.
Yeah, I think the Cuirass would have been very strong. The synergy with Gyrocopter is fairly excellent as well, because he's smacking everybody in the face with physical damage, so reducing their armor is highly effective. I do wonder at the Maelstrom pick. It's slightly better for just free farming. I wonder if they just want to go long, which I don't know if that's strategically too sound against Nature's Prophet 8 AM, even with a bad start.
BZZ's found the Nature's Prophet.
Well,
with the gem pickup, but the gem being picked up on BZZ just to make sure he can kill the Nature's Prophet at will. And, well, this is something that Cherry was not ready for.
Definitely, and that'll actually make it very, very difficult for him. Because, I mean, with the 12-second hook cooldown, it's so difficult for Nature's Prophet to do much of anything. As long as... If BZZ adds, like, oh, nice hook, wow.
Yeah. You pop that ultimate, but that is not going to save you against this Clockwork, I don't think. Blackbeard getting pushed back by the cogs multiple times. Gyrocopter actually BKB to come and make it to the fight. Looks like he BKB'd away from a Puck Dream Call, so
yeah.
Maybe SFZ look to try and chase this down. There's a cooldown, which I think he just wants to try and drop here. He's going to get healed up by the Chen. Great hook shot from BZZ. Hook actually getting stolen by the Rubik, although at the same time, Rubik doesn't want to go hooking into a battery assault. Hook not going to land.
Oh, yeah, it's just enough.
State. He's also getting low on mana. He's going to... get his way out of here. He does have his blink back up. HCK trying to TP out. The hook shot from the Clockwork not going to land on anyone.
Right. Even so, the hook shot, once you have Ags, is like the weather, right? Like, if you don't like it, wait 12 seconds and hook again.
Rubik has stolen an Aghanim's hook shot here, so an okay spell to steal. Problem is, you're a Rubik. You're so squishy. Right. You hook in, you die.
Right. And you don't have power cogs. He doesn't have Force Staff, unfortunately. Yeah. If he had Force Staff, I'd be like, yeah, hook all day. Why not?
If you're like against a team trying to split push, would be great, but against this like 5-man push we're seeing coming out of RoX.KiS, this hook seal is not going to be all that useful.
I mean, it is a 1.5 second disable on a 12-second cooldown that goes through BKB, so it may be relevant against Gyrocopter. But I definitely agree, Gods. I don't think that in and of itself is going to turn this game. I do want to say that overall SFZ are still impressing me. In fact, if Clockwork weren't having such an amazing game, I don't know that RoX.KiS would even be winning.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, he just completely saved Gyro. And the amazing cogs placement reduced Anti-Mage to not enough mana to even blink to continue chasing, and pushed him and Puck out of the way of actually being able to chase Gyro. Not to mention, what's the top line values on Clockwork? Yeah, 7 and 1.
Yeah, he's playing fantastic here. I like what Sadoi's done. He's going for a cute little item. He's picked up a Desolator on his Spirit Bear. And you talk about Assault Crafter pushing, Desolator is actually even better, giving them minus armor on the tower just as a single target thing and getting the damage output from the Desolator. Probably the best single target pushing item you can get.
Yeah, we totally forgot about the possibility. Or I'm not saying you did, but I totally forgot about the possibility of the Desolator when he was building that. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
Their push is so formidable.
Well, they're just going to straight up bring Raxus down. They can't actually kill the Spirit Bear just yet. There's going to be a hook coming in from the side. That's the Rubik, though. Counter hook comes out from the Clockwork. Cooldown being used as well. Not actually going to land. I think Cooldown got stolen. Nope, Rocket Brass got stolen. Nicely done by the Gyrocopter. Immediately casting another spell after the cooldown. And they get Raxus without even taking a team fight at mid lane. Oh, they actually end up losing the Naga Siren as Nature's Prophet. Ultimate goes flying on through, but it's very early Raxus taking a fall, and unfortunately for SFZ, this is not a good start for them.
The push from RoX.KiS is just really terrifyingly fast now, and so even though that was actually a very well put together defense from SFZ, the combination of the fact that Naga Siren is a pretty stupid hero and their very fast ability, oh my god, these hooks!
Oh man, Clockwork is just finding them all over the map. Rubik getting caught out once again, and this Rubik is just becoming food for Clockwork.
He really is. I mean, everybody's becoming food for Clockwork. Business Perfect now improves to 8-1-1. It's honestly just very impressive game from him. I haven't seen a mid performance this commanding from him in a while, actually, and I saw most of their Star Ladder games.
Alright, well, it looks like the next lane of choice for RoX.KiS is going to be pushing down the bottom lane. Nexus picks himself up some life steal here, just to help heal himself up bit by bit. And I think they're ready to go. I think if they can get this bottom lane, if they get the tier 3 and the Rax here, it's almost sealed the fate of SFC. I don't think there's any turning around another lane of Raxes.
If they get another lane, they also get the Roshan. You see Naga Siren has actually picked up a medallion, so the next Rosh will drop just tremendously quickly. Yeah. So yeah, if they manage to take... If SFC doesn't win a convincing victory here, there's still 3 outer towers up for RoX.KiS, so there's no way to just split push your way out of this one. It's a pretty tricky pickle that SFC find themselves in. I mean, if they can make some sort of miraculous defense, then more power to them. But otherwise, RoX.KiS is going to seek to just deliver the death blow.
And even if they can stall this push and maybe prevent the tier 3 going down, the Raxus going down, RoX.KiS is say, okay, well, we haven't been able to push high ground, let's go grab Roshan. And then let's try to do it with Aegis. So they don't actually have to get this tier 3 tower before Roshan comes back up. But they may just do that. Wow, this...
just so it drops so quickly.
Pushing power. Yeah, Puck going to say, look, we've got to go in. They're trying to go on the Chen here. Chen does have the mech as well as the Hand of God. And unfortunately, SFZ just don't have the damage to actually kill any heroes in their opening here. They're going to lose the Rubik on the front lines. Puck getting low here. And it looks like this is going to be the end of SFC. Blackbeard on the Abaddon gets burst down. They get the tier 3 tower. Rax is now going to take a fall. Antimage drops an ultimate. He actually kills off the Chen there in the background. So he's going to blink his way out of there. Yamaha nicely played. But with all said and done, it's still Rax is taking a fall. 2 sets at that. Clockwork with another hook shot. It's on the Puck as well. What a play coming up from BZZ.
Yeah, in the end, RoX.KiS just basically overwhelmed SFC. I do think that it was mostly draft. I don't think SFC availed themselves that poorly. Certainly there was a skill differential in the middle, I feel, or at least in this particular game, BZZ did much better mid than State did. Yeah. But other than that, I thought SFC didn't look too bad. Mostly to me, I didn't give them much of a shot based on just draft alone. So the fact that they lost is no surprise.
Yeah, I think that there was some slight individual just outplays coming in the actual very early game laning stage from the off-lane players. The off-lane Lone Druid got so much more out of the lane than Nature's Prophet, whereas Nature's Prophet's one of like the best heroes to have as far as disrupting the supports, going straight jungle if you want, but he got really far behind. The supports from SFZ didn't really use their time efficiently. They failed a level 1 smoke gank, so I think all in all you can tell RoX.KiS were just a lot more experienced.
Yeah. Although, for what it's worth, like the smoke gank, to me that mostly comes down to hero selection as well. Just the Abaddon provides nothing for trying to kill Lone Druid there.
God, this Gyrocopter is just going ham here in the
brutal,
jungle.
Yeah.
Even the puck even went down, it looked like, to a hook shot from the Clockwork, and well, one range rack standing, SFZ, they know they're out of this one at this point.
Business Perfect almost managed 500 GPM on freaking Clockwork this game. That's how 11-1-1. It's pretty decent for a hero whose performance in a lot of games is just, well, sometimes I disable people.
Well, 30 minutes in, there's your mega creeps. SFZ are not going to call the GG yet, but I'm sure they know it as well as that we know it. there is no coming back at this point. And
Oh, no, absolutely.
Clockwork, even with a hex completed as well as 1,500 gold, that is just a scary,
Yes.
scary amount of farm.
It's pretty disgusting, honestly. This is perfect, really. And I love the Hex. Why the hell not? It also gives you the mana regen you need for the 12-second hook.
Well, that does it pretty much for game number 1, although they haven't officially called the GG. But SFZ, I definitely agree. Like, they're looking like a solid all-around team, but they just need to sort of refine a couple pieces of their play, improve upon their draft maybe, so they have a more cohesive draft, and then maybe things will go a lot better for them in game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what they pull out for game 2. This was, in some respects, a very standard draft, but it was almost like a pantomime of a standard draft.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't mean to lay on them too hard for this, because it's you know, not an uncommon mistake, and it's something that even very high-tier teams make, but they just sort of picked a bunch of really good heroes in the absence of an actual game plan. And I think it really cost them and made them look worse than they actually are as a team, because just on pure skill level, I think they definitely have the potential to at least make a game of game 2.
Yep, well, we don't get the complete team wipe to round things off here. SFZ, 31 minutes. They're going to get defeated by RoX.KiS here in our opening match of Group D. So RoX.KiS, definitely the one big name in Group D, which can sort of stir things up a bit with Na'Vi, Fnatic, the two favorites, but RoX.KiS, with some good recent results, maybe look towards them. I mean, well, starting things off right if they want to try and contest for the top 2 spots, because only the top 2 from each group advance. So